Okay, we're trying again. I don't know what is wrong with our connection here, but it is terrible. It just seems like no matter where I try to do this from, I can't get it to work. Okay, let me know if you guys haven't given up and you're still there. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hi, Leon. Hopefully, even if hopefully everybody comes back. Okay, so today we're talking about the greater Roadrunner. This is a bird that is in the cuckoo family, which kind of goes along with its cartoon character that anybody my age will know. Anybody know? Looney Tunes, ring a bell? Beep, beep. Okay, so this is who we're talking about, the greater Roadrunner. So the name actually means of the earth, but more importantly, the name suggests exactly where you're going to see them, which is running along or across the road. I often see them at the Borderfield State Park kiosk. I used to have 3 of them that would get up in the window and stare at me, and they are strange. They're sort of primordial. So they originated actually in California. They are locals. They were actually discovered in San Diego County. And they live in extreme environments in the southwest of the United States and in Mexico. Places like chaparral and desert, very extreme climate. And they don't migrate. They're lifetime occupants of their territory. So around here you will see them occasionally at the estuary, but usually it's down at Borderfield State Park. So here's one, and I just want to show you, if you happen to be down at Borderfield, even if you don't see one, if you see this, that is a track. Okay, that is the track of a greater Roadrunner. And the way it makes this track is that because its 2 outer toes point backwards, and its second and third toe points forward. It's called zygodactyl. And parrots, toucans, and woodpeckers, also share that footprint. Hi, Juanita, you're back. Good. So, to describe them, they weigh almost a pound, I think 12 ounces. And they have yellow eyes. Their beak is sort of a heavy, coal-colored beak. And their beak is called a mandible, so you can see the top mandible curves down. And these are really strong beaks. They have powerful necks, long legs for running, and really long tails. And they can put this crest straight up in the air or back, which you'll see in some of the other pictures. Their wings are kind of short and rounded, and they lack a keel bone, which is right in here, and that is an extension to the sternum where the flight muscles attach. Okay? Let me show you another picture. Can you see there is a yellow, orange, white, blue, featherless skin behind their eye. That's called the posterbital, I can't pronounce things very well, but it's a posterbital patch. Anyway, it's featherless skin behind their eye and quite colorful, if you can see that. So, as far as their behavior, it's odd and it's comical. Thus the cartoon. And They sort of wag their tail a lot, and they erect that head crest, and they clatter their mandible, their beak, quite a bit. They are capable of flight, but they usually run from predators instead of flying. And when they do fly, it's usually to reach a perch, and it's usually not more than 10 feet off the ground. They'll fly like 20 or 30 yards, but half of that is usually more of a glide than using their wings to fly. So when they run, they can run 26 miles per hour, which is pretty darn fast. They're considered a terrestrial bird, on the ground, and also a bird that has more maneuverability than any other terrestrial animal in America. So, very coordinated and very fast. Their communication skills are also unmatched by most birds. They have an endless assortment of vocalizations and posturing. Their behavior and posture is a type of communication also. So, one of the things that they are famous for, besides these X-foot tracks, is, here's a picture of one jumping up to a perch. That's mostly what they do, not fly. One of the things they're famous for is this, eating rattlesnakes. They have an unusual appetite. It includes rattlesnakes, scorpions, black widows. They also eat cockroaches. Yum. They'll eat grasshoppers. Once they were sort of, a dead one was kind of dissected, and it had 63 cockroaches that it ate in one day. So, not cockroaches, grasshoppers. So that's a lot of grasshoppers. So they eat crickets, they eat snails, they also eat other birds' babies, young birds. Hi, Anne-Marie. They will also eat cactus, so that's another unusual thing that they eat. They eat seeds and they eat fruit. One reason that I'm standing in front of a toyon, you're going to start seeing those turn red. They're called the California holly. They like to eat lemonade berries and toyon and seeds. So they have probably the most diverse diet of any bird. So here's how they hunt, and get ready. Brace yourself. Okay, so there's the snake. Notice how it's grabbed by its head. The first thing they do is grab all the prey by their heads, and they slam them against the ground until they're dead. And then they knock their legs off and swallow them whole. So a lot of times when you see a roadrunner, you're going to see something hanging out of its mouth. And that's because it's so big that it can't swallow it all at once. Now, they won't eat a snake if it hides its head, and they won't eat it if it's bigger than 18 inches. And what you're going to see happening is, like, every few minutes they swallow it a little bit more. Then they swallow it a little bit more. And what they're doing is they actually coil it in their stomach to make room for the whole thing. So here's another picture. This picture isn't because it couldn't swallow the whole thing, but that's just kind of how they grab things, right by the head or the neck. So, yeah, and these guys hunt in the daytime, right? And one of the problems with being a daytime hunter is, especially in their environment, is that it's very hot. They obtain a lot of the water from the meat that they eat. But in the winter, you know, the reptiles hibernate, right? So they don't have a lot of meat to eat, and the birds migrate. So that's when they kind of start to focus on vegetation, berries and seeds. And because it is very hot or very cold, and like, you know, if they're not getting water from what they're eating, one of the tricks that they have is to enter something called torpor, which is they make their body temperature drop at night to conserve energy. They're able to do some cooling through their skin, and you can see them panting, and they don't just pant through with their mouth. They also do something called gular fluttering, which is they move that skin of their throat. And you'll also see them when it's really hot out standing in the shade rather than running down the road. Okay, as far as courtship, let me show you a little picture of some babies here. Here's some, it's kind of windy out. Okay, here's some babies. And obviously, you know, they try to find a mate in the spring, like most of the other birds. And what males do is they find the highest perch and they make a mournful sound, plus all the bill-clattering repertoire that they usually use to dissuade other males from entering their territory. They also raise their head to the sky and they wag their tail. And this is, I guess, supposed to be attractive. But the main thing that they do is they catch a mouse or something really delicious for the mate that they're interested in. And after they do that, the next thing they'll do is bring a twig, you know, some kind of nesting material. And the female is the one who gets to choose, and she's going to choose who she thinks is the best provider. And what she does during courtship is mimic the male's movements and accept the gift that he brings. And they mate for life. So Roadrunners mate for life. And let's talk about their babies. They usually have an egg clutch of 3 to 6 white eggs. And the females take a week to lay the eggs. Here's the picture of the babies again. So she takes a week to lay the eggs. And the problem with that is that the first ones get really big and eat all the food. And sometimes the last chick isn't doing so well, and this is gross, but when it starts to die, it just gets fed to its brothers and sisters. So, ick. But males bring food to the hatchlings. They both sit on the nest, but the male sits on the nest at night, and during the day he's busy bringing food. And sometimes late in the season he starts kind of cheating, and he runs off, and the food never makes it back to the nest. He just starts eating it himself. Okay, so they do have some predators, and this is where the snakes get even. They will eat their eggs. They will eat the Roadrunner's eggs. That doesn't happen that often because Roadrunners are pretty vigilant. There's also hawks that, you know, can get a Roadrunner, and cats have been known to get them. They do something that's really interesting. You know how killdeers, when they're on their nest, will pretend that their wing is broken if something gets near the nest? Well, a Roadrunner will run off the nest and distract the predator by pretending that its leg is broken, right? And that it would be, you know, the thing to eat, not the babies. So also, I think there's some illegal hunting. You know, I don't know why. Maybe people want a stuffed Roadrunner. I doubt that they taste very good. But what do you guys think is the main thing that kills Roadrunners? Beep beep. You know, cars. So cars kill, get ready for this, 25,000 a year. So that's a lot of Roadrunners. So all I can say is when you guys are down at Borderfield, watch out for Roadrunners. Watch out for squirrels too. There's this one bend where squirrels always run out in front of your car. Other interesting facts about Roadrunners is that there are more than 500 American businesses that use Roadrunners in their logo. So, you know, they are the epitome of speed. And then once again, the Looney Tune cartoon about the Roadrunner and the coyote, where the Roadrunner is racing down the road saying beep, 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 beep. And that was actually its name. And then it was being chased by Wile E. Coyote. Well, in truth, coyotes are not going to waste their time chasing a Roadrunner, you know, that can run 26 miles per hour. I mean, it's going to conserve its energy. So you're not really going to see that. But, you know, it won't be the first time that cartoons didn't tell the truth. Okay, so that's all I've got about Roadrunners. I wish you guys could ask questions, but, you know, this thing has a real lag, and we're lucky that we just didn't get disconnected for the third time. If you missed any of it, it'll be on our YouTube. And so you'll be able to watch it from beginning to end there. All right. Our next Lunchtime Live, I'm going to be talking about some of our endangered birds at the beach. And they are both down at Borderfield, which is kind of our focus right now. But they're also at the North Beach, so both sides of the river. And that's the snowy plover and the least tern. So I'll be able to give you guys some updates on them. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for putting up with all of our problems. Bye.